How do you balance family? Have you ever felt like the pressure of the work that I do is too much pressure on my family? And have it affected your family? And
I think I suck at it.
Okay.
There are many moments where I feel inadequate in ways just because of my time constraints. Because you're committed to what you're doing, right?
Yes.
All of them.
And you're trying to be the best at it.
So the restricting issue on that is time.
Wow.
Look, I'm a CPA, right? CPA firm.
Yes, you run a business.
Session is the exact time as tax season. And
Wow.
so I am, for 10 weeks, I got nothing.
Welcome to another episode of Hope Is Not Enough. My name is Mansfield Key, known to most as OP Key, and I have two guests with me today. Jamie Kiel, and I want to say Kerry Underwood, but he preferred Bubba.
Yes.
Which I'm not against that, but when I say Bubba, you think, but man, I really wanted to have both of you on here because one of the things we share and we talk about a lot when we talk about politics and politicians, sometimes people don't see you as people. They see you as a politician. They don't see you as a business owner. They don't see you as a father. They don't see you as a, how do you feel when people only see you as that politician? They call your office and they look at you as a, how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think most folks know that Bubba and I and all the legislators, that we have families and that we have businesses and jobs and all those things that the common person, the everyday person has.
Right.
And that we are everyday people.
Yeah.
And so I think most folks, that escapes most people when they look at us and look at our positions and what we do.
So when you think about Montgomery, because a lot of people, when you say Montgomery, capital, state, all of that, and you mentioned government, it's almost like you're looked at differently than a regular or normal person. But since you've been in Montgomery, you've been there longer, but since you've been there the shortest amount of time, what's been the biggest myth? Like the thing that, man, I wish I'd have known this before I got here, or the thing that I assumed, but now that you're there, you see it.
Yeah, so to preface that, I will say that Alabama beats the federal government in that we are every day walking with the people we serve.
That's good.
We don't go to DC and live there and then come
Gotcha.
to our district every now and then. We're here every day.
You live in the community.
We live here every day. Our home is here. We go to the grocery store with everybody, church with everybody. So that's a win.
That's a win. That's a win.
You can't separate yourself from the people you serve because you live amongst them and you're there.
That's great.
And I like that. So I think that's a win. As far as things that have surprised me in Montgomery, I really studied this thing before I did it, for two solid years to make sure I knew what I was getting into. I didn't catch a lot of surprises other than the fact that, and we've mentioned this before, how fast
so everything it moves.
And that's a surprise to me because I'm a slow thinker.
Gotcha.
Methodical, analytic kind of a thinker, and there's not many opportunities to be that.
So you're saying that
in session,
the things that are happening in session that affect so many people in the state, that's critical and crucial, but it happens so fast that people wouldn't have a clue that maybe that was looked at for a couple of minutes and made a decision on that. Yeah. How do we change that? Is it just not enough time to study each bill that comes up, or is it, you're part of a committee or subcommittee that looks at this in detail, and then you trust the people that are on that committee? How does that work?
So I'll give you an example. There's probably going to be something I'm going to bring up, I won't go into detail today, that may require a study.
Okay.
I don't think enough bills are studied in that way. But by a study, that means there will be a committee. Should the House approve this, there will be a committee assigned, and it will be given a year to be studied, and then brought back with a recommendation.
Gotcha. So you're not just bringing it up to go in place today. You're saying
I'm asking for permission to put together a team to study it.
to study it.
And there's
Wow.
not many bills that are done that way. There are some, but just not that many.
Now, you saying that it need to be studied for a year. Are you sure, or you unsure, or you just want to make sure that you got everything in place, or you just need the info? Because sometimes confirmation is,
Right.
I need this confirmation to know
Right.
that I'm going in the right direction, or when I present this, I want to make sure everybody knows that I'm not just bringing something to be rushed.
It's both of those. I feel confident, but I still want to hear other opinions. That study committee
Okay.
will allow that and will allow the time to do it. Can't do it in this session, it's too short. But also, it gives me a chance to vet that with other people so that when they see it, they're like, oh yeah, I know what that is, and I
Gotcha.
like that.
So Jamie Kiel, people, when we think about business and small businesses, they're thriving, and then sometimes they're not. And we look at the job market, and from a federal standpoint, we got, unemployment is here now, or it's here, based on who did the study and who did the report. What would you say to the small businesses that are in the state of Alabama? Like, I know you're not there to just serve small businesses, but you are a business in Alabama. How does your background of being a business owner help you when you're in Montgomery?
Well, that's one thing that drove me to Montgomery, or the desire to serve, was the everyday operation of my business, seeing how government is not working for business,
Wow.
actually working against business with red tape and regulations. And for a lot of people, they have to go before boards to serve as a barber, or as a person who does eyebrows. All those things require licenses and credentialing and all those things. It's a lot of hurdles and a lot of barriers to being a business owner. And so that's one thing that motivated me to actually serve.
So I want to go there, and I want to.
It was the frustration of every day costing the business owner time and money that they don't have. They're trying to feed their family. They're not thinking about how to interact with government. It's how can we cut that red tape?
So being a business owner, being in Montgomery, have you ever had to explain what certain things mean to people who may not know? They're just there, and you're saying, hey, the reason why we should do this or not do this is because of this.
Yeah, I mean, as an entrepreneur, I've had knowledge of a few different fields. One of those real estate, for instance, and so occasionally,
give me an example of something with real estate.
So occasionally something will come up in a field that I've been involved in that I have expertise in. Titling vehicles, for instance. We overhauled how to title vehicles a few years ago, and that was something that I had some knowledge about and was able to interact with and say, no, this is how it actually works. This is what slows the process or causes frustrations for consumers.
Wow.
Here's how we can fix that.
So breaking through the red tape to make it easier for the people in the state,
Sure.
whether it's business, owning the business, or the ones who are working in the business.
Sure.
How do you balance family? Have you ever felt like the pressure of the work that I do is too much pressure on my family? And have it affected your family? And
I think I suck at it.
Okay.
There are many moments where I feel inadequate in ways just because of my time constraints, because you're committed to what you're doing, right?
Yes.
All of them.
And you're
all
trying
of
to be
them.
the best at it.
So the restricting issue on that is time.
Wow.
Look, I'm a CPA, right? CPA firm.
Yes, you run a business.
Session is the exact time as tax season. And so I am, for 10 weeks, I got nothing. I mean, it's all I've got. And so those 10 weeks, when you hear that, you think, it's just 10 weeks. But they're gone.
Yes,
And
and
then
you can't
you're
get that
one, you're
back.
2, you're 3, you're
Right.
6, and you've lost 10 weeks 6 times. And so I feel like I struggle with that, but
Have your kids ever
no.
expressed that, or they just kind of like, oh, Dad, it's okay, we're okay, we're
always
good?
always that. And there is always that indirect, in fact, it's probably direct, of me showing my son that serving others matters, that it's important.
Gotcha.
And he sees that.
So you're balancing that with.
And it is tough, and I don't have the answer. I don't think I'm good at it.
Wow.
That's
You know, there's a quote that says, if you're always available for everyone, eventually you will have nothing for anyone.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you're locked in and I know you don't need the interruptions, but just do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button real quick so we can build up subscribers and keep bringing you content like this. Peace. And so I had a personal collapse a year or so ago, and out of that, it was because I was giving myself to everyone and then giving them my best and coming home and giving my family the rest.
Yeah.
Giving them what was left instead of giving. How do you balance family?
Well, there's always tension.
And faith.
There's always tension there. I think it is with anybody who, especially business owners like us, and then to add public service to that, there's always tension among those areas of life. One thing I've always done before I've run for office, and this will be my third election, and so I've asked my family if they still enjoy it, if it's still beneficial, if I'm still doing the work that I should be doing.
Is it worth it?
And I try to include my kids in things that they may not necessarily want to be at, but they do need to see the importance of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And as long as they have buy-in, and my wife and kids have buy-in on what we are doing, and when I say we, it's not just me, that what we're doing is important, then I'll keep serving.
So have there been times when your kids refused, I don't want to go, and you're like, no, you got, and they may not understand it in that moment, because I deal with that now. You know, my wife's like, no, you don't need to be here, and you're going to be able to meet such and such, and they're like, oh, we don't want to go. You know, they don't see how, they're getting a little older now, and they're kind of seeing it now, but have there ever been a time when you just had to put your foot down and say, no, we're all going as a family, you're going to smile, and you're going to,
So now you ask about my son or my wife? I'm just kidding. If I could just for a minute, my wife is an introvert.
Gotcha.
All the way. It's not even close how much of an introvert she is.
Gotcha.
And I'm the exact opposite of that. So,
wow.
When
Come on, you talk to my wife.
Listen,
look into the camera.
When she commits to going places with me for things, it costs her something. And that's respected and appreciated by me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It costs us something.
It does.
So you walk in the room, I don't know if you ever had to deal with this, and you see everybody in the room and you light up like, God, I gotta go talk to such and such. And then you realize you're with your wife and she has a seat and you're talking to everyone and you look over like, she's by herself. I need to go. And my wife has gotten to where, just go ahead, just make sure I get something here. I know it's killing you to sit here. I'm like, no, I want to be right here. We came together, you know what I mean? But a lot of people don't have the understanding from their partner that it's a team effort. And afterwards, now she wanted, we're going to go here and eat. I want to go to Ross and TJ Maxx. We're going to shop because we've been down in Montgomery or we've been in Mobile and you've been speaking all day. I have to balance that. But what about the ones that you see who may not have that person who supports them? And the divorce rate is so high in that field. What would you say? I know they can't go back and say I should have chose someone else. But what do you say to that? The ones who are in that field who haven't found that balance and it costs them.
Well, I think we've both seen people that have sacrificed relationships for some type of political gain. I think it's unfortunate. I think that people sometimes lose focus on what's important, and when you commit to till death do us part, that's what it is. And so I often look at that and think, I don't think, I know that was not worth whatever gain they thought they were getting.
It wasn't
not
worth
the gain. Yeah.
Wow. Have you ever had to say no when you wanted to say yes because you knew it was going to cost your family?
Well, we say no all the time. Yeah. We get so.
I knew y'all wanted to tell me no on coming here today.
Not you. No.
I know y'all were like, hey, we're not in session right now. I mean, God, you want to come here, but I mean, like, how do you? Because I struggle with that sometimes. Like, anything that I'm doing now, it goes through my wife, not to, but through.
Yeah.
Because if they call me, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do it, and you know, my wife started running our business. She has a degree in marketing, management, all of this. But yet, at the time when we first started, I was running the business. And if someone called, yes, I can be there. Yes, I can be there. And then, you know, one day I was headed to an event. And my wife said, hey, someone called and said, you're supposed to be in Chicago at Chicago? What, is that this weekend? I didn't know that was this weekend. Well, I'm on my way. And I had triple booked. And I had to go to my wife and say, I guess you'll be better at running this to me, and I would tell everyone to call you, because I'm thinking I'm the one doing the speaking. She the intro, but I didn't realize the gift that God had given her to do it, and then had put us together to make that work. But yet I'm looking at, I'm the man, I'm the one who's supposed to be doing that. Have you ever misjudged, miscalculated, misunderstood, or underplayed the gift that God had put in your wife and not utilized her the way that you should? Because I realized that, and of course, after a couple of failed attempts at business, I realized it. Have you ever done that?
Let me say too that what I meant, I want to make sure that I emphasize this correctly. My wife fully supports, and there are times that you know her desire to not go somewhere should be respected by me and has been. That she's what I'm trying to say is she's my balance.
Gotcha.
I'll tell you how bad I am at this. She keeps me balanced in
that's good.
In my focus, and that can never be underestimated. It can never be.
Gotcha. You got to keep it at the forefront.
Of vital importance, and her support means everything to me.
Wow.
But yeah, there's been plenty of times that I've overleaned. I've double booked. I'm not triple booked, but I've overbooked before. Double booked. And,
or you missed the time. You know, like, I think I can get here, and then when I leave there, I can.
Yeah. But I just want to recognize though that for her, it is a sacrifice to be a part of what I do.
And that's good. I'm going to take that into account, because I know my wife is making a sacrifice, but like I never looked at it cost her something every time she shows up. I didn't look at that. I just like, hey, you know, this might not be the best event, but it's going to be. What about you? Have you ever been in that position where, you know, you were looking at your wife and you were thinking like, I know she don't want to go here, but you know.
Well,
Melissa, how do you handle that?
Melissa's actually much more social than I am.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Bubba and I, we make a great team.
Right.
And we talk about this a lot because he and Melissa socially are much more alike. They enjoy interacting with people on a one-to-one setting. When Bubba and I go to something in Montgomery, we joke about this now, but I'm like, well, we can ride together, but I'm there for 10 minutes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I got to go when he's ready.
and so if you're going to stay a while, I'm not going to stay a while. Yeah. And so, but yeah, Melissa, we both have strengths. We both have weaknesses and complement each other very well. And, you know, she's much more caring than I am. She's much more personable than I am.
Wow.
And so where my strengths may be on one side, we complement each other very well.
Wow, that's good.
We have 3 girls that she raises at times because I'm not there.
Gotcha.
And so I'm very thankful to have a wife that is more caring than I am, and you know, compliments me in that way.
It's funny you say that, because as we come to a close, I started thinking about the sacrifices of the family, not just you.
Right.
Even though you're sitting here, but you're representing multiple people, you know, starting with the immediate family. As we come to a close, what strategies would you give someone? You know, you may be in the field of politics, maybe someone's a business owner. We see coaches. I work in the field of athletics where coaches are constantly, you know, working with student athletes, and then, you know, the job is on the line, it's high pressure, and a lot of times people just burn out. You know, compassion fatigue of trying to help everyone. What are one or two steps, or one or two, not steps, but strategies you would give them to balance being there for their family, being there for their faith, and then being there for, I would say, finances, meaning their job. If you had to say faith, family, finance, how do you balance those things? And what would you say to them if you had to look into the camera?
So look into the camera. So I have a philosophy that I follow that I think has worked to this point, and it's a work hard, play hard mentality, which says when I'm engaged in what I'm doing, I'm fully engaged in it, and I'm going to work hard to be really good at what I do, the best of my abilities. But there are times when I need to separate from that, and when I separate from that, that's the play hard time where I'm totally 100% committed to my family. And I mean, that means we may go places to separate. We may leave and go away, but I deliberately put time in my life to separate out just for them, to go and be part of their lives. And I don't let anything interact and overlap the top of that. And I think the work hard, play hard has worked for me. It may not for everyone, but it's worked well for me. And so that would be my advice to anybody listening, to make sure you find play hard times.
Gotcha. What would you say?
Well, I think for our family, because I have 3 teenage daughters and my wife is a teacher, we're all busy. Wow. And so it's not like I'm the only busy person in the family.
Gotcha.
It's important that we do things together. We still eat most meals together, especially with my college students at home. So that's an important time for us. And we still go to church together and we travel together. And so those are important times for our family that we make a point to be together at times. So I think it's very important.
Wow. So you heard it first. So when we say hope is not enough, I wanted the conversation to kind of build around the concept of sometimes we only see people for the position that they hold. Yeah. We see them as politicians. We see them as a coach. We see them as a speaker, when underneath that is a real person. Yeah. And that real person have feelings and values and beliefs, as well as choices and consequences that they have to make. And sometimes it doesn't always work out. Sometimes I find myself working harder than I'm playing. Sometimes I find myself playing. One of the things I found a couple of years ago is my getaway. We went on our first cruise some years ago, and I really love being on. That's the time, that's the moment for our family, because my phone is not working, my internet is not, I don't have my computer. I maybe try to take a book or something, but I'm away from everyone, because I can say that I'm not working, and it'd be 3 a.m. I'll be, God, I got this thought, I need to, and she'd be like, you sleep? Are you not sleeping? And sometimes I find it hard to balance that, but we're trying to teach our daughters, that work hard and play hard and be intentional about what you're doing, when you're doing it. I always say, be where your feet are. We're on this podcast and this is where we are. So when we say hope is not enough, know that behind the politician, behind the preacher, behind the teacher, behind that person that you see doing what they do is a real person with real feelings and real thoughts. And when we say hope is not enough, you got to know that hope is not enough, but you still got to have it. Thanks, and see you next time.